3 years ago, I had no clients, no team, no clue how to run a business. And in 3 years, my creative agency has made $267,194.93 in revenue. Yeah, saying that out loud is insane. Here's exactly how it happened. This is obviously prop money. This isn't real. I ain't got it like that. But in this video, I'll break down exactly how I did it, from how I got clients to what services made the most money and the biggest mistakes I made along the way. If you're a freelance creative or someone who is trying to start a business, I hope this video helps you. And I think this video is for you. So hopefully you stay to the end. I'm going to talk about what made the most money and what totally flopped. Because you know how business is. You win some, you lose some. Allow me to say thank you to TapTapSend for sponsoring this video. I'll tell you more about them later. And interestingly enough, they're a huge part of my agency story. All right, so year one, the beginning. Year one, survival mode, the beginning. I like to say my agency found. I had a business before I knew it was a business. Because I feel like today, a lot of people tell you, oh, if you want to start a business, you need to go register your name, pick the services you want to offer. And I'm someone who has just been a freelance creative, who's been a photographer, a music video director, and has literally just been freelancing since like 2011. So I like to say my agency found me. The very first service I offered was YouTube consulting. And this was, the retainer was $1,600 a month. And I was getting paid $1,600 a month to do the thumbnails, video editing, film the videos. I was literally running this creators channel. So I would say the very first year, pre-registering my company, was 2021, so post-pandemic. From February 2021, I literally had one client. So from February 2021 to February 2022, I had one client, and this client was paying me $1,600, and I was pretty much just a YouTube producer for her. And also one thing to consider is that, like, in 2021, I only had that client. So I only made about $1,600 times 12. We're talking like $19,200 give or take from like agency revenue. Now during this time, like, I was also still freelancing. So I was filming a ton. So I was able to make extra side income. I was also trading cryptocurrency on the side. So I had some investments, and I'm someone who has never been like money focused. I've always been focused on the art, right? Like, I love being a creative, and I've never really led with money first, but I've also understood that, like, I definitely need to earn money to be able to live, especially when you're living in New York, one of the most expensive cities in the world, right? Like, you need income, because I was barely making rent like every single month. So a lot of things happened in 2021. My love for YouTube grew. My love for the creator economy. I started to really understand that, like, being a creator is super cool, and this is a really big industry. And I started to also see how much creators were making. But something else started happening. You see, in 2022, I got my second client. And obviously, this was a referral, right? Because I had no idea what I was doing. But when I got the second client, not only was I super excited, but I knew that, okay, I had to register my business. I registered my business on the 16th of May, 2022. And I registered a random creative doing business as Donald is Random. Now, this year was chaotic. Not only wasn't I able to scale the business, but I think 2022 was a groundbreaking year because I worked my ass off. I undercharged. I was doing everything myself. I was editing videos, running the strategy calls, managing content calendars, doing the thumbnails myself, filming the videos. I was doing everything. And by the end of 2022, I made $40,273.13. You know, like, when I was prepping for this video, I was looking back to see how much revenue I make. And shout out to Honeybook, because Honeybook is the CRM, the platform that I use. And I love to say that Honeybook changed my life, because I feel like a lot of times we make money, but we never really keep track, especially when you're a freelance creative. But Honeybook was really nice because I needed a way where I could charge clients and not necessarily like have to have that conversation like every single month. So Honeybook was like really great. But looking back, I'm able to see exactly how much money I made in that time frame. And I'm putting the screenshots here so you guys can also see, like, this is absolutely real. And that year, you know, I had some expenses. I spent $7,158.36. And that was money that I used to buy laptops, upgrade my camera, software services, just things that I was using to run the business at the time. Okay, so let's backtrack a little bit. See, I moved to America in 2016 to attend my dream school, the New York Film Academy. And in 2019, I graduated and put all my money into my student short film, Diary Jimmy. There's a film about a girl who lost her boyfriend due to a curse placed on her by her dad. I'm Nigerian. We believe in voodoo. So that film went to a lot of festivals, and I was traveling a lot, you know, in 2019, talking about my film at different festivals. And when that was done, we all know what happened at the end of 2019, crossing into 2020, the pandemic. The journey to start a random creative was as random as the name in itself. And let me just put this out there. I've definitely made more than $250,000 over the past 5 years. I'm only tracking from the moment the company was registered. So during the pandemic, I fell in love with YouTube and content creation. When you're making $19,000 a year before, and all of a sudden you get an extra client and your income goes from about $19,000 to $40,000. That is almost 100% increase. My quality of life, my understanding of how much money I could earn increased drastically. And that brings me to year two. Year two, what I like to call the defining years of a random creative. And I give all the praise to this book, The Personal MBA. I have a video on my channel where I talked about 4 books that absolutely changed my life. And The Personal MBA by Josh Kaufman is definitely one of them. I have it on my Amazon store if you want to go check it out. Now, what happened in 2022? Not only did I get knowledge, but I hired my first editor, my very first video editor, because I was tired. I had edited so many videos in 2022 that I was so tired of editing videos. But remember, now in 2022, I ended 2022 with I own a company. I learned how to use Notion and got super organized because I understood the importance of systems after reading the book. And most of all, one of the things I learned was how to stop saying yes. Because what had happened in 2022 was I was making money, but I was not making money in the way I wanted. I had opportunities that were coming towards me, and as long as they were creative and as long as they could match my skill set, I would take the job. But I ended up being a lot burnt out because now in 2023, if I'm going to bring people in, if I'm going to hire an editor, if I'm going to bring a team in, I need a lot more structure. And that's what I did. Aside from my editor, I hired my editor and then I hired another editor. So now I had 2 editors working for me. And then I started getting more clients because I was like, okay, I have video editors. We can really ramp the work that we're doing. And then I needed something else. I needed somebody at the core, someone who could sit at the intersection between me, being the founder and, creative strategist, but someone who could also manage the editors and the graphic designers and the creative writers and this future system that I wanted to build. And I needed a creative project manager. So I went out and I went into my network and I hired someone. I still have the same head creative project manager till today, and we've been going really, really strong. Let me use this opportunity to tell you about TapTapSend. Now, TapTapSend is the fastest way to send money internationally to places like Nigeria, Kenya, Ghana, and more. I've been using TapTapSend to send payments to my employees every single month. And when they reached out to me and said they wanted to sponsor a video, I was like, I'm making this video telling people about how much money I have made for my agency. But as you can see in every single revenue sheet, you can see expenses. Most of the people that I've hired do not live in America because that's how I've been able to make my agency work. Because I come from Nigeria. I came from Nigeria in 2016 to America, and there are a lot of creators and creatives all over the continent of Africa who need opportunities and who are so creative and so talented that using platforms like TapTapSend was really easy for me to be able to make those transactions and pay people at the end of the month, because sometimes it's difficult to be able to send people money. So TapTapSend can easily do the conversion and send it into the bank account of my contractors or my employees. They have no hidden fees, great rates, and the transfer shows up fast. Now the best part is for my audience alone, they've given me a unique promo code. If you use the code random creative, just like the way it reads on screen in all caps here, you get $20, 20 euros, or 20 pounds off your first transfer over $80. Whether you're helping families, supporting a project, paying an employee, or just doing that adult thing, TapTapSend makes it really simple to be able to send money to places like Nigeria, Ghana, Kenya, and more. Again, use the code randomcreative, download TapTapSend, and the link would be in the description. Thank you, TapTapSend, for sponsoring this portion of this video. So post hiring the project manager, now I have a lot more time on my hands, and I'm trying to figure out what is my niche? What is my agency selling? Of course, I know we have content strategy, we have editing, we offer thumbnails, audits, product development and support. Like we were doing all these different things, but like I wasn't really sure like what exactly does a random creative do? Because now I bought myself a lot more time because my product manager was servicing all the other clients. Like it gave me an opportunity to actually become an operator. And that's when it hit me. Creator support. A random creative is a creator support agency. So we're helping creators to create, package, and distribute their content. The entire vertical, we can come into a creator's business because we understand it, we have the experience, and we can help you fast track and do things that you would spend a year doing in 2 months. We'll set up systems and we'll set up processes. And that thought process started to trickle down. It started to make my consulting and my consultation calls a lot more positioned in a way that would help me succeed. I like to say I have a 99.9 success rate when it comes to closing a creator, but not because I think I'm the best salesman. It's because I am a creator. You're watching a video of me on YouTube trying to grow my channel, sharing about what the past 3 years has been like building my agency. And even though I didn't particularly focus on scaling, I think the level of attention that we provided to clients really helped push the needle forward. I always get the question like, how do we grow from 5 to 10 clients? Is it referrals? Is it outreach? Can you guess? I can confidently tell you that I have never signed a client by sending out an email. Now, that's not to brag, but it's just like really what is. Because I watch a lot of videos and people are like, oh, you have to send emails and you have to reach out. And I get these emails too, but I've never responded to it because most times it's like, it's never clear. And maybe there's a gap or something that I don't know business-wise, but I'm just telling you from what has happened in my business, I've gotten 100% from referrals because people have really, the clients that we've had have stayed with us and they felt supported. And when you feel supported, you feel the need to share that. Now in 2023, I had a goal. And my goal was, can I 2x my $40,000? Can I make $80,000 in 2023? At least now I have all the help I need. And to my surprise, in 2023, I made $103,856.25. This was the very first time I had started a business myself and I had grown it to hitting 6 figures. And that was unbelievable. I remember that year I like read a lot of books. I was locked in. And I think that was the year that's like, I was like, oh, I can actually do this. I've been given an opportunity not only to support creators, but to also support talent, to build a business that helps everyone who has ever thought about being a creator. And that's the journey that I'm on today. And year 3 was scale mode. Right? Year 3, it's 2024, and 2024 was hard. 2024 was hard for the economy. It was hard for myself as a business owner because, I heard this thing that like, if your business survives 5 years in New York City in America, then you have a good business because most businesses fail in the first 5 years or the first year. And this was never in my mind, but I remember setting a goal. Again, I was like, I can 2x this. I set a goal for $250,000. And I was like, I want to make $250,000 because I believe we can support as many creators as we want because we have the team and the proven formula to be able to make this happen. And I think this was the moment where I started to drift from my core, from genuinely just supporting creators and, being the same person who started this company and was able to grow this company from making 0 revenue to 6 figures. I was so obsessed about that $250,000 goal that I started to create new means of business, of how I felt like I could get to the goal. Because I was like, I want this company to be somewhere in the next 5 years. And I'm like, I'm not sure if, the current model that we have. But in 2024, we had a drop in revenue. And not only did I spend more money that year, we made $91,844.67. Now, it's like the beautiful thing about that number is that in 2024, as of June, we had only made about $30,000 or $35,000. So the biggest bulk of that revenue actually came in the bottom half of the year. But that's because the first half of the year, I had set this goal for 250 and I was like, okay, for me to hit 250, I need 15 clients. And I started hiring. I started hiring more editors, more writers. I was building a software company because I was like, I wanted to scale this and make this a lot more efficient. And a lot of those things are still in the works, but I drifted away from the goal that my business behind the scenes was suffering so much and I didn't even know until, and thank God that like by the end of Q3, Q4, I had like reset my mind and I was like, oh, need to concentrate, and I concentrated and I was able to still hit this goal. Now it's like, yes, like to the guy who made $19,000 in 2021 to the one who made $40,000 in 2022, $91,844 shouldn't, that is amazing. Now from January 2022 to now, we've made $267,194.93. That's how much revenue my company has done, $250,000. If I break down where that money came from, it will be 80% from monthly retainer clients, so our core business, so creator support, the creators who pay us every month, and we offer, ongoing content strategy, ongoing optimization, video editing, graphic design, creative writing, and project management. That is our core business. And then 18% came from audit packages. So those are packages that we sell. They're more low ticket. That's like the top of our funnel. That's what we used to find our ideal clients that we want to work with long term. But 18% came from that because we have a $799 audit package, and then 12% came from product developing. I literally made a card game. I'm gonna show you one second. And 12% came from developing a card game. Like this card game, Mama D Sabi Slangs. This was a card game that was developed by my agency. Literally, this is a slang game, and I'll put the link in the description if you guys want to go purchase this. And this is by a client of ours, Drea Knows Best. I like to say I think the retainer model really changed everything for the business. When I reflect on the past 3 years, is there anything that I would have done differently? I would say no. I wish I didn't pivot in 2024. But I think, yes, I did lose a lot of revenue, and I did spend a lot of money developing a lot of things that ended up not working out. But I think I learned a lot from that process. I learned the right people to partner with. I learned how to go about things and how to educate yourself when you're not 100% sure of something that you're trying to do. But I also don't think there's anything wrong in trying. And I think my mindset has really evolved. I have learned a lot on the job. Like I said, I didn't start this company. I didn't want to start a company. I started a company because I had a service and I knew I wanted to hire people because I needed to provide more of this service to more people. And, I just felt like there was a gap that was missing in this new evolving industry that I've been exposed to. Now, were there times where I probably wanted to quit? So I was like, oh, this money is not consistent. Should I go get a job? I would say yes and no. Because of the passion that I have for the creator economy and being a creator and not like thinking money first, this is something that is communicated within the culture of the agency. We want to evolve and we want to grow and we want to understand where, the industry is going and how we can be a part of making it great and how we can, create content that people end up consuming, that brands, would love to like collaborate with, and, work that would really make like the audience proud, but also ourselves proud. And because it's not money focused, I think that's the reason why I haven't given up, because I'm so passionate about what I do and I feel lucky and blessed to be able to do this. Now, if there are things that I would say at the end of this video, is like things that I wish I knew earlier. I think one would be saying no sometimes, right? It's like not saying yes all the time. Because I think sometimes you say yes because you feel like you can do it. But sometimes things hurt your system more than it helps your system. Sometimes things distract you. And with the way we operate at the agency, because we have a lot of different clients, it's very important to make sure that like if we're bringing someone into the system, that is a client that is absolutely a culture fit, meaning that like not only they will get along with the employees and the contractors they're going to be collaborating with, but vice versa. And, because you have a bad egg, that bad egg can make all the other eggs like go rotten if you're not careful. So there's a lot of management that needs to happen, not just saying yes, and really evaluating like the clients, the employees, the type of business, the package, the service, knowing like what is the right fit for each individual that comes through the door is something that I would say like I wish I knew earlier, because the moment I figured that out, it really helped change the game. The last thing would be underpricing. I think one thing I've learned as someone who wanted to scale to having 20 clients, because I thought that was the fastest way to get to $20,000, $30,000 a month. I think one thing I've learned is there's a lot of value in longevity, in retention, and also in making sure that you're getting paid your worth. And I think it's better to have less people and have a bigger reward than to try to get little reward from a lot of people, because then it becomes harder to manage. And I don't think that's ideal for success. Now, if you're someone who wants to start today, if you want to start your own company from scratch, I would say pick one service. Figure out like what's something that you're great at, you're exceptional at. Pick one thing that you're really good at and build proof. So get 3 to 5 pieces of like to make up like your strong portfolio. And I would say find people who you genuinely connect with and you can really help them, you can really support, and go to those people. And I always love to say that if you don't ask, you will never receive. So, and my biggest secret for success is really just asking. You'll be surprised. Like if you really want to work with someone and you send them a message, reach out to them, go to the business, try to make contact and shoot your shot, you'll be surprised that 9 out of 10 times you'll get a yes more than a no. Because most times the person that you really genuinely want to help needs you as much as you need them, and you're more of a fit than you actually know. You're building your own agency, you're just starting out as a creative. You can absolutely do this. And it's not about being perfect, it's about building smart and staying consistent. Don't let slow growth make you quit. As you can see, I started small and you absolutely can too. I consider myself still at the starting point. So let me know in the comments, what's your biggest goal this year? Hit that subscribe button, because I'm going to be posting more videos about agency stuff. If you enjoyed this video, then I think you're going to enjoy this one, where I interviewed the biggest African travel creator with over 1 million subscribers on YouTube, Tayo Aina. And he talks about how much money he makes from his YouTube videos. Click it right here.